Now it's time for our district breakdown. We welcome in Inside High School Sports Insider, Matt Harris, to go more in depth and break down District 19 6A for you. Matt?
Thanks, Ashley. This week, we're all about Katy Isd, which comprises all of 19 6A. This was one of my favorite districts to watch last season because it truly had a little bit of everything. Katy spent nearly the entire season ranked in the USA Today National Top 10, while Katy Tompkins was one of the best 6A squads in Texas. Behind that, Maid Creek slotted in at third to make its first playoff appearance in more than a decade. The Rams topped that by winning their first playoff game since 1997 by beating Bush in round 1. If that's not enough, Katy Taylor rounded out the district in fourth and also had the deepest playoff run, making it all the way to the state semifinals. Who needs a 10-win regular season when you can win 4 games in the playoffs, am I right? There's no shortage of returning elite talent in this district either, and I'll kick off my 19 6A preview with the school with the most returning talent. For the Katy Tigers, the rich get richer. Bronson McClelland returns at quarterback for his 3rd year as the Tigers starter, though he loses his top target and receiver Jordan Patrick. However, there's plenty of other help. Brandon Campbell is eligible for his senior season after sitting out a year following his transfer from Pearland, and the USC commit figures to replace every bit of the production put out by the graduating Ron Hoff. Tight end Fernando Garza will be a solid target for McClelland, but the Tigers' strength should be on defense. Hunter Washington is one of the most highly recruited defensive backs in his class, and he's joined by linebacker Ty Khanna and defensive end Malik Silla in terms of Division I prospects on the Katy defense. The embarrassment of riches in terms of talent doesn't stop there, but I can't mention everyone. The Tigers have won 73 straight district games, a state record, and I don't see anything different for Gary Joseph's squad in 2020. However, if anyone's to challenge Katy, I think Tompkins is the team to get it done. The Falcons lost a close one to the Tigers last season by a score of 35-30, and they wound up at 11-2 overall with a loss to an excellent Atascocita team in round 3. Like Katy, the Falcons returned their star quarterback and Texas commit Jalen Milroe, who I think is the best skill position player in the district. Marquis Shoulders is back as well after making first-team All-District as a kick returner. Shoulders filled in for an injured RJ Smith for much of the playoffs as well, and he did well at running back. I expect nothing less from him this season. That talented backfield will be protected by an offensive line that has some major question marks, and there are spots to fill at receiver as well. But with as much talent as Milroe and Shoulders have, I think the offense will be fine and the defense returns some good talent as well, headlined by Drew Polidor. I think Tompkins is a lock for the 2nd spot in 19 6A once again, and I think they'll be in the conversation for most talented 2 seed in the state, along with Atascocita, who I have finishing behind North Shore, but that preview's in 2 weeks. While Katy Isd was one of my favorites to cover last season, Maid Creek was absolutely my favorite story. As I mentioned earlier, the Rams hadn't made the playoffs since 2008, and they hadn't won a playoff game since 1997. Both of those droughts came to an end in 2019. The charge was led by co-offensive player of the year Julius Luridge, who ran for more than 1,500 yards, and Dante Jones, who will take over at quarterback after playing in multiple spots last season. Replacing talent on defense and head coach Mike Rabe, who's off to the brand new Jordan High, won't be easy, but I have full confidence that Luridge can carry the Rams to the same heights they experienced last season. Ironically enough, the 4th place finisher in Katy Isd made it farther than anyone else in the district in the playoffs and farther than 95% of the state last season. Despite a 3-3 district record, Taylor found itself playing for the right to go to a state championship in early December after taking down Elkins, Memorial, Humble, and Side Creek. The Mustangs wound up getting dismantled by state champion Austin Westlake, but that doesn't mean the season wasn't an enormous success, and there's even better news. Taylor is the only team in this district to return at least 7 starters on either side of the ball, and they returned 7 on both sides of the ball. With a combined 14 returning starters, Taylor could absolutely shock the district by upsetting Tompkins or even Katy. I certainly don't expect that to happen, but it's far from inconceivable. Jay Jensen threw for more than 2,000 yards last season, while his backfield mate Casey Shorter ran for more than 1,300. Both are back to operate behind what might be the best offensive line in the entire state, with can't-miss recruit Bryce Foster leading the group. With all the returning talent, I have Taylor flip-flopping with Mayde Creek to finish third in the district, and in Division II, don't be surprised to see the Mustangs make another run at state. Next up is another team that retooled well from last season in Seven Lakes. Quarterback Christian Beltran returns along with his top two weapons and running backs Milton Jones and Nick David West, but the offensive line graduated a lot of talent. So too did the Spartan defense. Adam North is back to lead that unit, but there are also plenty of holes to fill. While some think Seven Lakes could make a playoff push, I think Katy Isd is a little too stacked. Katy and Tompkins are in a league of their own, while Taylor is a legit state championship threat in Division II, and Mayde Creek returns plenty of talent of its own. But maybe next year's the year Seven Lakes breaks through. One talented team that couldn't break into the playoffs in a loaded district last year was Morton Ranch. The Mavs would have been playoff bound in plenty of other districts, but when it was all said and done, every Katy Isd team that made the playoffs won at least 9 games, which is no easy task. J. Marcus Wilson is back to lead the Mavs at quarterback, and he'll have a big target in tight end Zajori Ross as one of his top targets. Carson Christopher has some varsity experience at running back, and the offensive line should be good, but the defense will be pretty young. Again, I don't see Morton Ranch making the playoffs in such a talented district, but that doesn't mean they won't be fun to watch. We'll wrap it up with Cinco Ranch, who went winless in Coach Chris Dudley's first season at the helm. Fortunately, I don't think Dudley will have to wait too long to get on the board. There's some returning talent from a team that was pretty young last season, and that starts with quarterback Evan Dunn. Caleb Leaphart and Grayson Medford will be solid weapons for Dunn, who will operate behind what will be a decent offensive line. The defense has some questions, and I think it'll be tough for the Cougars to pick up a district win, but that comes with playing in Katy Isd. Expect Cinco Ranch to try and win some non-district games to get things rolling for 2021. That leaves me with the toughest decision I have to make each week, my team and player to watch. I'm switching it up this week and going with my player to watch first because it sets up my team to watch. I really wanted to go with Jalen Milroe here because I think he will absolutely be the district MVP when it's all said and done, but Milroe's the obvious choice, so I went a different route. My player to watch for 19-6A is Mayde Creek running back Julius Luridge. It's only right when you help lead your school to its first playoff win in 22 years. Luridge is back to lead that charge once again, but Katy Isd is extremely talented this season. Mayde Creek making a return trip to the playoffs isn't a guarantee, but I like Luridge to lead the Rams back, making him my player to watch. My team to watch could go one of two ways, granted there are 2 teams in this district who could be talented enough to challenge Katy. While I think Taylor will be really good, I think Tompkins will be a tad better, making the Falcons my team to watch. Jalen Milroe is truly one of the special talents in all of Houston, and he led Tompkins within 5 points of the then number 10 team in all of America last season, nearly completing what would have been a 35-14 comeback. In other words, it took a top 10 team in the nation for Katy to keep its district winning streak alive. The talent is there for Katy to be nationally ranked once again, but they'll need to seriously watch out for Tompkins to avoid an upset. That's all I have for Katy Isd this week.